Hello, beautiful, and welcome to Mom's Talk Sex. I'm so excited that you're here because I have the beautiful Shiloh with me, and we're going to have a super juicy conversation. Hi, Shiloh.
Hi, Moore. Happy to be here.
Thanks for being here. How about you share with our listeners who you are and what it is that you do in the world?
Absolutely. Thank you. So, I am Shiloh Minor and I'm a love and relationship coach for married women. You probably hear a lot of dating coaches out there, but as we know, the marriage is a lot longer than the dating phase. And as you know, sexuality changes a lot from the honeymoon until afterwards. And so, one of the things that I love to teach on is how do we cultivate that really expansive, juicy, awesome sex life well into decades into your marriage. I'm married for now 10 years and I have two little boys, 7 and 9. So I know all about those complexities. And I've been helping women for 6 years, navigating all the different things that come up in long-term relationships, including the very important bedroom side of things.
So, do you find that people come to you as a marriage counsel or more about we don't have enough intimacy. How do we bring that back?
So usually what happens is women come to me whose husbands are like, ick, I don't want to talk to anybody. No. And they're like, okay, but I don't know what to do because usually there's general relationship complaints like we just doesn't feel romantic anymore and I'm kind of feeling neglected and he's like, well, I don't know, I'm busy, I'm tired. And they're not always going directly for the sexual complaint that usually comes out later. They're like, actually, I would like it to be better. I would like to know how to communicate with my husband because um, usually it has been great or it can be great, but it kind of loses steam or you're just not as excited about it. And so they want to know, like, what can I do as from my own side of the fence, right? There's two people in the relationship and they understand that one person can't do everything, but they can do a lot to shift the dynamics.
I love that. So it's women that are aware and want a better relationship, and typically the husbands are the ones that aren't interested. Why do you think that is that the husband isn't interested? Do you think it comes from the wife? Like, do you think it's because there's a pushback from the wife, or do you think it's just because they don't think it's important to work on a relationship?
I think that the main reason that don't, a lot of men feel threatened by therapy or by coaching is because they see it as exposure of vulnerability. So the way that most men operate is to protect themselves and their partner from threats, and they're very threat oriented. And if there's something that's not working, the classic line is, we can figure that out ourselves. We don't need anybody in our business. We don't need to tell them. It almost feels disloyal to them that we should even talk about this stuff with anyone else. Whereas women are very aware that you can learn so much from other people. We ask each other questions. We're like, what do you do? What do you do? And we just gain so much wisdom that way that it's like, it's a really opposing mindset.
I love that. So how do you, okay, so what would you say to someone that's coming to you and they're like, we want to increase the intimacy. I want to feel seen. I want to feel loved again or adored again. Like, what are some tips that you can share?
So my first step of my method is always put yourself first. So women were very other oriented and we're like, well, how can I make him feel this way more? How can I get that out of him? And or how can I do something differently? And it's like we need to pause there because the way someone treats you is mirroring the way you treat yourself. Not 100% because they're also treating you out of their own character and temperament, but in a big way, we are neglecting ourselves almost across the board. Most women, especially if they're mothers, are focused externally on caretaking their homes, their children, their man. And this backfires in terms of sexuality because number one, it puts your husband in a role of a dependent to you, emotionally dependent, maybe sexually dependent, like he needs this from me and I have to do it. Or like I have to take care of him. That's going to turn you off. It's also going to turn him off because the dynamic is mother son. So back that off. What do you need to do to feel sexy? Like women's sexuality is actually quite auto generated. Like I always say to them, how sexy do you feel when you think you're fat? How much do you want to have sex? Not at all. You're like, no, no, thank you. Man could be doing everything right, but you're like, ick, can't handle it, don't want to, right? So it's not
Right.
that you have to go lose weight, it's that you have to find yourself sexy and beautiful by dancing, by working out, by walking outside in the sunshine, by thinking good thoughts about yourself. Like you can do all these things to just feel better about yourself, which will make you more desiring and more desirable at the same time.
I love that. So let me ask you, how did you get into this? Did you have like a wake up call of some sort with your marriage that you were like, I need to shift this around?
Oh yeah, definitely. So when we had two babies, 1 and 3, everything fell apart. It was just like no friendship, no intimacy, no nothing. We were just surviving and coping. And it was so lonely, but it was also so scary because I was like, wait a minute, like this is my person. We have little kids together. This cannot go on for 20 years. Like, I always think of myself as like, it's lucky that I'm selfish because I'm like, we need to fix this now. Whereas a lot of women make the mistake of being like, oh, it's just a season, it's just marriage, it's just kids. But every year that you feel alone, it stacks up. It has an impact on you. And that's why so many women will divorce their husband when their kids are like 9, 10, because they thought they could just weather that and then get back to good times. It doesn't work that way. You have to cultivate it in every season as much as you can. And so in that moment, I was like, I need to figure this out. And I basically opened myself up to any teaching, anything. I was like, I'm going to learn everything there is to know about this stuff that before I thought would have been stupid or embarrassing or whatever. I just went for it. I found out, wow, there's so much beautiful wisdom on this that is just not known. And so once I learned it, I was like, I need to share this with other women because we're doing our best out here with not a lot of guidance.
So what is one of your favorite things that you learned on this journey that really like open your mind, open your heart, open your awareness to be like, oh wow, I wish I knew this earlier.
I think the biggest things I learn is how radically different the perspectives are between men and women. Like before doing this work, I didn't want to hear that. I was like, no, they're just being lazy, or like, no, they should just figure it out. And I very much was like resistant to that thought because I thought it was just giving men a pass for everything. And now I'm like, men are not getting a pass. We still need to stand up for our needs. But if we really think that men are a lot like women, we're just going to think they're jerks. Like they're just idiots. They're just don't care about us. Like that's why women always say, you don't even care about me. You don't even
Right.
care about me. Like when we get mad, we're always saying that. You don't even care about me, right? And he's like, what? I do this and I do this and I do this, right? And he's so offended that you should say that to him that you don't care about me. And it's because he is showing you care in his language,
Hmm.
which is not your language,
Right.
which is not sustainable. He still needs to learn, but it takes the sting out of it. It takes the personal out of it. If you can hold, like, not all men, but many men have this, like, very practical way of showing love and a very, non mushy way of showing love. And then they do love you, they do care. And that saves you from making it worse than it needs to be, right? Like if you see someone from China come visit your house and they do some weird stuff that we don't do in our houses, you're going to be like, maybe it's cultural. Maybe I should not judge this person as just being terrible. I'm going to consider it might be cultural. That's the way I think with men and women. We need to think as though we're from different cultures. You still need to learn the language of each other. You still need to negotiate it, but you're not going to like character assassinate. This is just because they don't care.
Yes. So what are some ways that men show love that you've
They,
seen that women don't like that women don't
yeah.
see as love?
They take care of practical matters. They pay bills, they make money, they work harder than they would have had you not been there. Like women think, oh, they do that anyways. But like a lot of men who are like what I call like honorable, healthy masculine, their whole focus is making sure this family is okay long term. Like, we need to not only have money today, we need to have money 10 years from now. I'm holding that responsibility. I'm thinking about it. I am maybe working at a job I don't like that much. I'm working more hours than I want to work. I'm bearing that responsibility. And because I care about you, right?
Yeah.
And with that, things like taking care of the car, taking care of the yard, shoveling the walk, whatever, it it doesn't often land for women as care,
That's
right?
right. Why do you think that is? I mean, because we wouldn't want to do it. Like realistically, I mean, every time my husband mows the lawn, I'm like, thank God, I really did not want to do that, right? So it's like,
Yeah, so you're saying why doesn't it land as care?
yeah, like why don't we see that as just like you make the dinner, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe they make the dinner, but at
Mm-hmm.
least, our house, like I cook, I love cooking. He's
Mm-hmm.
in charge of, fixing my car if it breaks or,
Right.
mowing the lawn. It's like almost feels like a partnership first. So when do you feel like we lose track of the fact that it's a partnership and we feel like it's falling apart?
Well, the reason why women don't feel loved by the acts of service that men do is because our nervous systems are regulated by oxytocin. So, oxytocin is like what you get when you nurse babies. You get a huge flush of it when you give birth, when you go through labor. When someone makes eye contact with you, when they hold your hand, when they like, tenderness, hugs, cuddles, that is actually how we feel safe. That's how we bond. And so if we're not getting oxytocin from our man, do we even have a man? Does he even care? Like it just, that's when we feel it's breaking down because our nervous system, our wiring is going, I am not loved. I can't, I need this. I need this physical manifestation of it. I need you're beautiful. I love you. Words, these things actually cause hormones in our body to fire. And what's so sad, and I guess why I teach this work is this is a mismatch. This
Yeah.
is something that just most couples are not matched on. And if we don't do work to men build more of those skills, for women to understand that it's a skill they need to build, we're just going to think we're incompatible. This ain't never going to work.
Right. So can a woman provide those things for herself
Yeah.
first, and then
Yeah.
that's going to invite the man to actually do more of it? Is that
So
what it is?
it's a good question. That's part of it. So one of the parts is women cannot get all their oxytocin needs met by a man. He's got to go to work, like he's
Right.
got to do stuff. And we could always have more,
Right.
like it's not like we're like, okay, I'm done. It's like, no, this is like water. Like every day we need it. So, things like cuddling your kids, things like having a good heart to heart with your girlfriends, things like dancing, self-pleasuring, even just like cuddling yourself, the working with your hands, all these things fill our tank.
Yeah.
And the reason why this elicits more from your man is because men respond to desire, not desperation.
Not need. Yeah. I call it need.
Yeah,
Need
it's
versus
like
desire.
need. Yeah, yeah. And so when we're like, oh, I'm so empty, like, please, can you at least give me a hug? He's like, oh, wow, I'm not going to win. I'm just going to barely scrape the barrel for this person. It's like,
Right.
it doesn't do it for them on an instinctual level, where if you're like, oh, I could have some more. I could have some more of this. Then he's like, oh, that's easy. I go over to this happy woman and make her more happy, right?
Right. I love that. So, how can women cultivate more of that? You said choosing themselves,
Yeah.
right? And starting to find ways to fill their cup, to fill,
Hmm.
that oxytocin tank. I like that,
Hmm.
right? And then do you think it automatically becomes that the guy is like, oh, she's happier now, I could just contribute to that? Like, how does that actually invite them in?
So it depends on the man you're with, and it depends on your dynamic. So I have these kind of different couplings. I have type A Alice and dutiful Daniel. If you're a woman who's like driven and like getting shit done, kicking ass and taking names, and you soften and you show more of that, it's going to create a shift really quickly because he wasn't avoiding you. He was just a little scared. Like that he was going to get in trouble, that you were going to criticize him. So if you stop criticizing a man and you've been a little bit domineering and you shift into more receptive, instantly he'll come towards you. Now, if you have a man who I call Manly Marcus, if you have Manly Marcus and empathic Evelyn, he's kind of like an engineer and he's kicking ass all day and working really hard. He's not going to automatically shift because he's so single focused and job driven. It takes a little more for him, right? So with that guy, you're going to do your internal shifts and you'll notice he'll shift a little bit. But then you also need to express, like, I love it when you hug me. It feels so good to just hold your hand. Like, this really just warms my heart. Like, when you tell me I'm beautiful, I feel happy all day. Like, he's going to need to know the impact, right? Because he only does things that has impact. He's like an ROI calculator at all times. It's like
Yeah.
not wasting my time on that, doesn't do anything, right? Like he's really performance man, right? So depending on the character of the man you're with, it takes more I guess repetitions of expressing like what do I like? What do I like telling him and showing him with your body like it feels so good, right?
Yeah. I love that. That is so great. So, what are like three things off the top of your head you can tell women to do to they're finishing listening to this podcast and they're like, okay, I am going to change this today. I'm going to change it around. What are three things they can do to start changing it today?
So the first thing would be to smile and make eye contact. My phone's
Oh,
beeping, so make sure to turn this on. So this is very simple. We forget to do it, especially if we're a little bit resentful and annoyed. Smile at him and make eye contact. That's an invitation. You have to be an invitation. So that's number one. Number two, get do the things for yourself you want him to do for you. So when you hear yourself like, he never takes me out, he never listens to me, he never pays attention to me, do those things for yourself. Take yourself out, write in your journal, listen to yourself, give yourself what you need. Like show yourself that you're worthy of those things. That's
yeah.
really important. Um, what's number three? Number three would be to express desire, but in the format of something he already did. So it can be a when you did, I love that. When you do, I love it. Because then he's hearing it as like, oh, I already do that stuff.
I love that.
That's not new. That's not hard. I already do it. Right. But that's reinforcing for him what really has an impact on me. Because the men who are going around mowing the lawn, doing the things, they're going to keep doubling down on that strategy and it's not making an impact on you.
Right.
And they don't really get that. They'll just keep doing the same strategy. So then it's like, no, this really has an impact on me. I love that. And really being effusive and expressive about it.
Do you find that it's more women that are lacking the intimacy or more men?
Are we talking sex or emotional intimacy?
We're talking sex. Like, do you have more, like, when the women come, is it because the guy wants to have sex and they just don't have the vibe? Or is it because they're feeling like they want to have more and the guy is just too depleted?
So typically it's men who want more. And men will tell you if you ask them, I could do it every day. Like almost every man will tell you that. I could do it every day. However, not all those men are like communicating that well or doing the things that their wife even knows,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So there can be a confusion there. When women are pursuing the man and like not getting their needs met intimacy and sexually, that happens as well more than people think. So I always want to reassure women like this is a lot more common than you think.
yeah,
It's just that people kind of polarize into different communities. So like you'll
right.
find whole communities of men complaining about this online, and then you'll find whole communities of women being like, "What? Where are all those guys?" But it's because we marry our opposite. So this aspect of polarity will clear it all up for you. If you're a woman with a super high sex drive who's really comfortable, who wants to explore, who's even like, yes, let's have fun with it, your guy's going to be conservative and a little vanilla. I'm sorry, but I can guarantee you the reverse is also true. The man who's like, oh, this is such a big part of my life. I love to express myself physically. He's going to have the wife who's be like, everything's not about sex, you know. Like, why are you so obsessed with sex? So
Wow.
that is just the cruel joke of attraction. You are attracted and deeply pulled to someone who is your opposite.
So how do you overcome that? How do you meet in the middle, right?
Right. So what I teach people is to meet that person where they're at. So instead of trying to take them from 1 to 70 over on your side of the fence, they're like, I can't do that. That's not me. It seems too intimidating, seems too impossible. But when you're in a marriage, you need to think of it as a long-term investment, as a marathon, as like we are going to be together for 30 years. So let's take it slow. Let's build into this so that it becomes a natural part of our relationship. So, if you're a woman who wants, things to change or there to be more expansiveness in your sexual life, You talk, have a conversation about it at the very smallest level, you know? What is something that you kind of miss in it? Like, what would you like? Because typically men who are reserved, they have their own fantasies, they have their own wants, but they are conditioned to silence that.
Mm.
You don't ask. That's weird, or it's too vulnerable, or like if she wanted to do it, she already would have done it. Like they're very repressed in terms of self-expression. So if you can open that up for them and be like, I love what we do already and this is great, but if you had anything you're curious about, like I'm open,
I
you
love
know?
that. That is great.
Yeah.
This has been so amazing. So many golden nuggets here, you guys. If you're listening, I would jot it down because it seems so simple, but maybe it is, right? Simple steps to start. Just smile. Sometimes we forget to even do that, right? We're so in our head about it. Thank you so much, Shiloh. This was amazing. If our listeners want to find more about you and what you do, and where can they find you?
Okay, so I want to share right now. Actually, I'm doing a course called Eros. So I'm doing like a 4-week course in my membership where we're just talking about sexuality. We're going right deep into it, and you can ask all your questions and I answer it in the course. It's in a membership called The Way of Love. So I'll give you the link for that. You can put it below. But I'm most active on Facebook and YouTube. I also have
Okay.
Instagram, but you can like totally binge my content on Facebook and YouTube. And I'm really interactive with my audience. If you just want to message me and be like, I saw the podcast. I got a question. I might just give you a coupon. So try that out if you're curious. I would love to talk to you.
I love that so much. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to go binge your stuff and check it all out. And I'm sure you guys listening want to do the same. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week.